that was how Ian Bailey contacted me, actually. He asked me to help him polish up his memoirs because he said he was just struggling with them because there was so much stuff, so much material, and he had his drink problem as well. So it was very hard. I mean, I can't imagine how he achieved so much. I mean, he got a law degree and a master's in law, and then he was writing his memoirs while struggling with a drink problem. So, anyway, I said I kind of said to him, like, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm not going to formally. I'm not going to take part in your memoir or get help you write it or anything like that. He just kind of gave me a few pointers, but I decided not to get involved because I thought I want to be objective when it comes to a person I've written about, and also I felt that I get dragged into this drama, and I didn't want to be Ian Bailey's friend because if once you're somebody's friend, you're on their side, and I thought no one will ever respect me as a journalist if I do that. But I did feel a bit sad about it, like when he died, and I thought, maybe I should have helped him a bit more.
Yeah.
Because I think he was up against a lot. I felt sorry for him in the end.
And I think he was expecting. I think you mentioned, if I remember well, on your interview with Now Boyland, that at the very last days he was sleeping on the living room, that he could be seen from the window or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, this was actually common knowledge. He was living in Bantry, and he was looking out the window, and this is in some of the newspapers as well. He was living in a kind of a two-room flat, just a bedroom and a kind of a kitchen living room, and he wouldn't even sleep in the bedroom. He's such a big man, he couldn't sleep in a normal bed, I think, and he had his feet up in some wooden pallets. And Jim Sheridan used to visit him, and actually a photographer colleague of mine used to visit him as well. Quite a few friends of his that have been in touch with me, they used to visit him, but he used to look out the window because he wanted to be he wanted people to see him at all times, and people said that was narcissistic, but I think it was just fear. He was afraid of being kidnapped and taken away to France, because it could happen. It has happened before. There's a famous case. What was the guy's name? I don't want to get his name wrong, but this guy was kidnapped in Germany and brought to France for justice once for a trial, and he was just literally kidnapped and brought across the border and dumped outside a police station. So he was afraid somebody would just shove him into a van, when no one's looking, and drive him to the ferry and bring him to France. So it could, in theory, it could have happened to him. So he was, so he wanted to be seen at all times. So he had to sleep with his face up over the window so everyone in the street could see him. I mean, I can't imagine what it'd be like living like that.
Yeah, it has to be a nightmare, like that you are known for a potential murder, but no one knows if it happened or not, and there is people in France trying to bring you to jail, but you don't know exactly how it's going to happen. The Irish state is with you, but not you never know how much. So yeah, it has to be.
The Irish state protected him, really. The Irish state protected him, but people in Ireland believed he was guilty, and they genuinely believed. And people in France, I spoke to Sophie Toscan de Plantier's uncle, and he actually genuinely believed Ian Bailey did it. So that family relied on what the guards believed and what the people here believed. And I don't think anyone, who said he was guilty did. I know they all genuinely believed it. But I think they're basing it on basically what they heard from other people and their own gut instinct, and I just think that
or maybe from Netflix, like that Netflix documentary was very, very much biased. It was
but it was like much of the media coverage too. Much of the media coverage in Ireland was biased towards him as well. And he took a libel action and he lost it. But I mean, I don't know how he lost the libel action really against the newspapers at the time, but he did. I mean, I know the judge believed that he was. The judge said called him. I can't remember the exact words, and I quoted him exactly in the book. But the judge did say that as an abuser of women, that he was basically a kind of person who would commit a murder. So it was just his word against other people's. I mean, I know he beat up his partner. He admitted that, and I know it was very distasteful, and he spent the rest of his life basically doing penance for that. But I can't square that with a person walking across the mountains like late at night while drunk, or driving a car across all these zigzag switchback roads late at night and killing a person he didn't even know, or at best only knew to see. I mean, he had no motive to kill her. And
so
I would say opportunity.
Would you tend to think that he is innocent?
Yeah, I do. I think, well, innocent of murder, certainly. I mean, and he's been remarkably non-violent all these years since. But I don't think he could have done it. So that's why I think it is not because he wouldn't. I don't think I mean certainly would have been capable of it. But I just don't think he had the opportunity or the motive to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Even if it would be, I'd say, alcohol related event.
Yeah, but I mean, he was full of alcohol that night. But I mean, she lived as the crow flies, she lived about 2.5 miles away over a mountain. It was the
Mm.
middle of winter, and the idea that a man could trek across a mountain at night with all these rat holes in it. I mean, I walked around there. I tried to do it myself, and it was just impossible. And there's a back road. I mean, Sophie's uncle told me that he went along the back road and he walked it, and he said Ian Bailey could have done it faster than him. But that back road, I mean, it was worse then. It was worse back in the 90s. But even when I went, I tried it in 2011, and it was a hard trek, and it was up a hill and up over a really rough road, and I don't think a drunk man without falling into the bog
Yeah.
would be able to do it. So it just doesn't make sense to me. And he came home stocious. He was so drunk that a guard was planning to follow him. Guard recently said he was going to follow him to try and catch him for drunk driving, and he'd left. So I can't see if he drove home drunk, then he got up and walked across up the
Mm.
roads or across the moors or drove. It just on some sort of a mad urge to go and meet this woman and knock on her door. And then nobody heard her scream. I mean, I doubt she was killed up at the doorway because the neighbours would surely have heard her. I believe she was probably killed down by the gate, where the neighbours wouldn't have heard her. And I actually believe it was Alfie, her neighbour, that probably was the only person I think could have done it,
Yeah.
and the only person had a motive. And his
So
his
you
partner his partner wouldn't have heard it down if it was down at the gate,
yeah.
because it was kind of down a steep slope from the house.
Mm. So your view is not exactly aligned with the narrative. So I'm sure you see a lot of backlash. How did you handle the people's reaction, comments, feedback, all that?
I thought it was strange the way I got this kind of visceral backlash. I mean, people were actually. I kind of got a little taste of not what it felt like to be Ian Bailey, but I could see what he was up against because some of the comments I got. I went on radio, and the comments that people sent in were kind of, oh, you didn't know him. How can you claim? Or were you not intimidated by this man? Most women would be intimidated by all this kind of stuff. It was just their own gut instinct and their own absolute visceral hatred for the man that they had known for years. So I could see that it just gave me an insight into the way people think, and the way they really fool themselves. I think they don't mean to think like this, but it's the kind of human herd instinct where people all, for safety, people like to be together. But he was an outsider, and he was kind of a blow-in of blow-ins. I know West Cork is full of people, outsiders supposed to be, but they're not really outsiders. I mean, they're all kind of a certain social class, or they're in the arts and culture group, or they're locals who have a history of family history there. But Ian Bailey didn't fit in. He didn't tick any of the boxes. He was just a complete outsider in every sense of the word. So I
Yeah.
think people, when they have this kind of, everyone has a herd mentality. I mean, even Ian Bailey, he hadn't found his tribe, but if he had found his tribe, I mean, there would have been outsiders there. I think we all make somebody another. I mean, he was othered, but we all do this to people without meaning to, I think. So
Yeah.
that's what happened to him. I mean,
And while
yeah, sorry.
no, you can finish.
Yeah, no, you're Portuguese and you're in Ireland. I mean, do you ever feel like an outsider sometimes? You must.
I do, but I enjoy it, and I use that for my own benefit and
Yeah.
advantage. Of course, there are challenges and obstacles about that, but there is also fun. So it really depends how you approach it. But I have to say, in 8 years that I live in this country, there was only one occasion that I was object of racism, only one, and that's nothing.
Yeah,
One time
that's
in
great.
8 years, and that was in the Liberties, and let's call it the aggressors were a couple of crazy kids in there. I don't know, yeah, they were like 15, 16. So I don't even take it seriously. They were just looking for trouble and happened
Yeah.
to be me the victim. Let's put it like that. It wasn't anything remarkable that I will bring it to the table. So I think it's great. No, I feel very
And
much.
did they physically attack you or anything like that, or did they? What happened?
No,
Did they,
basically they just throw even funny. They even just throw a little bark on me. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they started to
It's
laugh.
not,
And
it's not a nice feeling though, is it? I mean, it's horrible, isn't it? To be
yeah,
treated like that. But I'm just saying, you're kind of, you're a person, you're a personable person. You can get on well with people. You know, you're able to talk to people. But I think Ian Bailey wasn't really. You know, he was kind of arrogant, and you know, he didn't help himself by being so arrogant to people, and you know, he rubbed people up the wrong way. So it didn't. His personality did go against him, but that's no reason to blame him for murder. You know, that's the thing.